Hello,
Hi, good
morning.
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 This is Juan Carlos.
Hi, Juan Carlos. Hi, everyone. How are you guys today?
Fine, fine.
Very fine.
Very fine.
Good, good. All right. So we're going to start today's class, or well, we're gonna be here today from 8:45 to 11. The activities that we're gonna do, or the objectives that we want to accomplish today, are to watch a TED Talk video and work in the videos activities. We are also going to work in a section from the book that is called presentation skills, which can help you actually for the presentation that you're going to work on later in the course. We're not going to create a writing activity because this one is actually for homework, but I'm going to explain a little bit about that. And we are going to talk about the topics that you can use for your presentation. Remember that the presentation is going to be next week. Everybody has to have the presentation ready, but only half of the class is going to have the opportunity next Saturday, and then the other Saturday the other half. Okay.
Yeah.
If we have time, we are going to have an opportunity to do an investigation, but that is if we have time for that. Okay.
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 Now, what we're gonna do to continue? Oh, sorry. I have this question, and it is very similar to what you actually did for homework, and it's a reflection. The question is, do you think a person can have too much money? Why or why not?
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to actually ask you to do is I want you to have we're going to start with a discussion, but
Okay.
we are around you are around 8 students, so we can actually divide the group so you can have more opportunity to talk. I'm only going to give you 4 minutes for you to discuss this question, and then we are going to bring it to the whole class. Okay. Questions with this?
No.
No questions.
All right. So remember, you have 4 minutes, so everybody has to participate in the discussion. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let me just separate you guys. Okay. All right. Hi, Alberto. I'm going to send you to one of the breakout rooms, okay? Because your classmates, they are having a discussion.
All right.
Okay.
quality life. Right?
Okay. Yes. That's it.
Tell me.
Okay. Teacher, I am Brenda. Este,
Okay.
I think yes, there are people that have a lot of money because no ways people
Of money.
Yes. Okay.
And there are
I
many
agree.
reasons. There are many reasons. For
I
example,
agree with you.
yeah. For example, sometimes the people gain much money
Mhm.
because many people may develop an obsession with money because of their own need for approval. O sea, many people need approval in the society because I need a lot of money. So
Yes.
this is a reason. Maybe another reason.
Yes.
Maybe another reason. Maybe uh,
Maybe
there are
she
there,
gained.
there
Okay, the teacher sent a picture that has a question.
Mhm.
Said, how much money have you saved in 1 year? Well, for me, I am not working,
Mhm.
but I saved the last year like 30, no, 20,000 or 25,000. No, thousand, no. 25,000. I don't have I don't know.
They can have too much money and can buy everything, but sometimes they feel incomplete because the money or buy too much things with money. So they can feel incomplete.
Yeah. See, the person feeling incomplete for with the money.
Mhm.
For me, no, it's not necessarily the money for to the be happy.
Me too.
Yeah. Also, it's necessary to pay food, bills, and I don't know, but
The basic
yes,
necessities, or something like that.
yes, as necessary. More is not necessary being to reach the people for the uh, to be happy in the life.
Mm, okay.
Relative. Uh,
All right. So everybody is here, right? Okay. All right. Iram is coming back.
Okay.
All right. So let me just go back to the presentation. All right. So in this case, I mean, you don't have to give me a full explanation, but what do you guys think? So do you think a person can have too much money? Yes or no?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
yes,
Why
Now,
not?
It's not my case, but yes.
It's my weight.
all right. Now, in this case, now I want you to. Well, actually, I want to ask this question. It's something a little bit different, but the question is, how much money have you saved in 1 year? For example,
Not enough.
I know. So in my case, I can say that I have saved like 30,000 pesos in 1 year. Okay.
Okay.
Or if you haven't, because sometimes people don't save money, I haven't saved any money.
Any money, yeah. Yeah.
What about you? How much money have you saved in a year? Like if you have actually done it, how much money have you saved?
In this year, in last year, I had saved money of about 100 thousand pesos.
Okay, that's good. What about the rest
Mhm.
of you guys and girls? How much money have you saved?
I have saved 1,500 in last year.
Me
Okay,
too.
right, like 1,500 as well.
The last year, I think
Uh-huh.
I have saved 1 million pesos.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. Now, very good. You control your money. That's good. I cannot control my money.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else who wants to share? Or, I mean, you can say, you know what? I haven't saved money because I like to buy things in Amazon like Teacher Hilda this year.
Yeah. In this quarantine.
I know.
I see the wholesale and I can resist to buy
Yeah.
something.
I know. Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's difficult because you are not spending money for gas, or like if you take an Uber, maybe you don't spend that money, but you spend it in other things, which is my case. So it's difficult.
And
All right.
consumist.
Yes.
But no imposter.
Yeah.
I know. All right. Okay, so moving on from this, we are actually going to work a little bit on we're gonna start the TED Talk video, but
Mhm.
we are actually going to work first with vocabulary. Now, I have these three words, expressions. Let me
Mhm.
just hold on. Yes. So we have
Okay.
the expression. Hold on. The developing world, emerging economies, and industrialized world. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
What I'm going to ask you to do first is actually to use the Zoom chat and select one word, one expression, or one phrase, and give the definition to the phrase that you think corresponds. So, for example, maybe you say developing world is, as an example, I'm just going to say developing world is a way to make the world better, or whatever. Emerging economies, it refers to the world working to have a better economy, whatever you think it is. But I want you to select one, only one, and use the chat to write a definition to the word or phrase that you use. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
I'm gonna give you 3 minutes for you to select one and to write the definition that you think corresponds.
Okay.
Not a phrase. It's a definition.
Yes, only a definition. That what you understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's just work these 3 minutes, and then we are going to discuss about it.
Chat, ¿verdad?
Yes, on the chat.
Wait a minute, teacher. Wait a minute.
Yes, don't worry. All right. So okay, Iram. All right, Brenda. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes.
Roy,
All right.
I wrong, teacher. It's most.
Yes.
We're
No,
industrialized. It's most of them.
okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
Most of them countries that have reached high levels. Yeah, I know.
Okay, Ronaldo, good.
Three definition, teacher, or only one?
No, only one. You can select
Okay.
only one, and then we
Okay.
are going to discuss the three.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Sandra. Good. Okay. All right.
Teacher, I think world emerging or economic emerging and developing world is the same, teacher. I think I am economist. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so let's just wait for the others. Just one more minute. Let's see who else wants to write, and then we're gonna discuss a little bit about this. All right. All right. So in this case, is anybody else writing something or? Okay, let's just hold on. Let's see. Oh yeah. Who went away? All right, Guillermo. Okay. So in this case, I think with the definitions that you have, I mean, you are the ones that are here. So we're gonna discuss a little bit about this. We're going to start with developing world. In this case, what did you guys? Some of you put developing world, some others chose another. But what do you guys understand by developing world?
Developing world, these countries whose economics are in full economic development.
Okay.
This is content starting from a state of under development or transition economy.
Okay.
Economy.
All right. So, but in this case, does it mean that they are like their economy is bad, or that they are actually making progress in their economy, or in their like country or something?
I think developing world is some too many countries developing or
In fact, Mexico
no.
Mexico is an example.
Okay.
Well, yes. Developing.
Mexico is an example, Brazil, etc.
I agree with Ceci. Is when some countries resolve problems.
Okay. All right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for example, similar to what Alberto also mentioned, that like it's kind of like a growing economy socially, and it's little by little, year by year. I mean, the change is not like right away. Okay, and then we have
Okay,
emerging economies. What do you guys understand from
it's the
emerging
same.
economies?
Emerging economies.
What do you guys think?
Is in this time
It's when
when the economies the countries on the Mexico is the spends
India.
money in the pandemic or to the government to attack in this pandemic.
Okay, so it's
It's
similar
an
to what we're doing.
emerging.
Yes.
I think the emerging economy is when have change real, but progress your economy.
Okay, so it's making progress. Again, similar to what Alberto mentioned, like gradually, it's not like right away, but it's little by little making a way to progress. Okay,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
in
like a
those,
Mexico, Chile, Brazil, whatever.
yes, pretty much.
Mhm.
And then we have industrialized world. So what do you guys understand by that?
Is the country the first world.
Okay, yeah. So first world places.
Yes,
Sí.
the countries have a lot the economy and the health and I don't know.
Yeah, like they are in a very good place right now. What country do you know that is a first world or industrialized world country?
China,
USA,
USA.
Okay, the USA.
China, Japan,
Okay, Japan, China.
USA,
British,
USA, Canada, France,
German,
England,
Russia,
Japan,
German.
Germany.
Russian.
Russia. Okay,
Russia.
It's G7, teacher.
the G7.
The group G7.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
the
yeah.
group G7.
All
Yeah,
right.
do you know?
I
El
think
G7, la siete potencias. Sí.
yes. Yeah. All right. Very
Or
good.
maybe or maybe OCD.
OCD.
In this OCD include 20 countries
Okay. Yeah.
who's dije 20, who has a good level good level industrialized.
Okay.
For
Was that?
example, includes
I think. Well, I don't know if it's. Is it what the president? I know that the president didn't go to a place, but I'm not sure if it's that. I don't remember what was the name of the thing that like there was like a conference or something, and the president of Mexico said that he was not going to attend, and a lot of countries. I think it was like G something or something. I don't remember honestly, but I'm not sure if it's the same thing. But yes. Okay. All right. Now we are actually going to use these expressions, and we are going to. Well, you already told me this. We are going to go to your book. Let me tell you what page it is. Hold on. So if you have your book, you can open your book, and let me just tell you the page. Hold on.
45.
Which one?
45.
45. Okay. So we have page 45, and it's actually section 3D. And we have
45. Okay.
45, and it should be section
Okay.
3D.
Okay,
And
3D. Global
we-
population.
We have global population growth box by box. Okay.
What does that mean?
Yeah, well, we're actually going to check that in a moment. And we're going to watch a video from Hans Rosling, but I was wondering if somebody could help me read this paragraph. No?
The thoughts?
Yeah, only read the paragraph from Hans Rosling to the people.
Okay. Hans Rosling is a professional of international health at the Karolinska Institute in Sydney. He also, yes, he also co-founded Doctors Without Borders Sweden. And Rosling is known for the creativity ways he presents information about global health and economic issues. Hans Rosling's idea works spreading is that if we want to manage population growth, we must raise the income of the world's poorest billion people.
Okay, so in this case, we are actually going to discuss about this, but what I want you to do on page 45, below the paragraph, you have a section that is called previewing. And you have 1, 2, 3. What I'm going to ask you to do is complete the 3 sentences using one of these phrases that we talked about. Okay, answer that, and then we're gonna check check that, and we're gonna check the answers.
Okay. Ready.
All right. Let's just wait for the rest. Tell me when the rest is finished.
Finish.
Okay.
Finish.
All right. So in this case, I'm going to read the sentences and I'm going to ask you to tell me the answer, okay? So we have number 1, it says, developed countries that are part of the
Industrialized world.
Industrialized world.
Okay. Let me just check the answer. All right, industrialized world include Canada, Japan, and Germany. These countries have advanced technology and highly developed economies. Good.
Obviously.
Everybody has that answer?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Good. Number 2 says, countries such as Brazil and India have
emerging economics.
Yes, they once were part of the developing world, but are now increasing in wealth. So it means that before they were, let's just say, poor, and little by little they started to grow. And then the last one, we have the developing world. Exactly, is a term that describes the type of economy in countries such as Haiti and Laos or Laos. These countries have low levels of technological and economic resources. Okay. What questions do you have with this?
No.
No questions?
No.
No, it's okay.
All right. Very good. Now, to continue with this, sorry. This is what's going to happen. We are going to watch a TED Talk video, okay, similar to what we have done before, but obviously the video is actually divided in 3 parts, okay. And the activities are actually on page 45 and 46. Okay. What I want you to do is, because the activities, they have graphs. Okay, so I want you to prepare and complete some of the graphs from the video. Now, activity number 1 is on page 45. Is this one?
Okay.
The instructions are: we are going to watch part 1 of the TED Talk, and what I want you to do is to complete the diagram below. This is the diagram. So you have to pay attention when he mentions this, and then complete this part. When he mentions this, to complete it, and this one as well. And then we're going to check the answers, okay?
Okay.
Let me just go back to the book so you can start watching the video. Okay, I'm going to put you guys on mute so that you only focus on the video, only on this part, and then I'm going to ask you to tell me the answers you have, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let me just put you on mute. Okay. All right, so we're going to start. Just pay attention to what he mentions and answer.
I still remember the day in school when our teacher told us that the world population had become 3 billion people. And that was in 1960. And I'm going to talk now how world population has changed from that year and into the future. But I will not use digital technology as I've done during my first 5 TED Talks. Instead, I have progressed, and I am today launching a brand new analog teaching technology that I picked up from IKEA. This box contains 1 billion people. And our teacher told us that the industrialized world, 1960, had 1 billion people. And the developing world, she said, they had 2 billion people. And they lived away then. There was a big gap between the 1 billion in the industrialized world and the 2 billion in the developing world. The industrialized world, people were healthy, educated, rich, and they had small families. And their aspiration was to buy a car. And in 1960, all Swedes were saving to try to buy a Volvo like this. This was the economic level at which Sweden was. But in contrast to this, the developing world, far away, the aspiration of the average family there was to have food for the day. And they were saving to be able to buy a pair of shoes. There was an enormous gap in the world when I grew up. And this gap between the West and the rest has created a mindset of the world which we still use linguistically when we talk about the West and the developing world. But the world has changed, and it's overdue to upgrade that mindset and that taxonomy of the world and to understand it.
Okay, so let me just right, so if you want to turn on your microphone, that's okay. Now, were you able to get the answers? Do you have some of the answers, or do you want to listen one more time?
I think in the second line, it's industrialized world.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is let's just Let me just move this part. Okay, so in this case we have, let me make this one.
Aspiration.
All right, so we have developing world aspiration by a, so we're talking about 1960. So by a
pair of shoes.
Okay, so a pair of shoes or a car, let's see. Pair of shoes.
Pair of shoes.
Yes.
A pair of shoes. The developing world, okay? And then this one?
Industrialized world.
Industrialized world. So we have two different types of worlds, let's say. Developing, their aspiration is to just have a pair of shoes. But the industrialized world, what is their aspiration? To buy a what?
Buy a car.
A car. Exactly. So we have the two different like sides of the coin, right? The ones that are just like okay with having some shoes, and the other ones that they want more, that they want a car, they want something else. Questions with this?
No.
But this is the analogy, no? He commented, or he said, the aspirations in the developing world is an education, buy a food for a day, no?
Yes,
I
exactly.
understand that. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have, yeah, like we have the two sides of the, well, the two sides of the coin, like I said. So we have these people who have money and who prefer to have like material rather than the other side of the coin that don't have the money, that don't have the actual benefit of studying, because it's an industrialized world also refers to people who are educated, who have that benefit of having an education or having a career or a profession, and the others no. Okay, so let me just go back to the presentation. Presentation, this one. Okay, can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we are going to continue with the TED Talk video, but now we are actually going to focus on part number 2. It is a different part of the video. The same. What I'm going to ask you to do is to complete the diagram or the graph that he did in this case. So we have developing world, and then now he's going to focus on this year. Okay, the aspiration, economies, and what is this world? Okay, let me go back to the book. Sound. And this one is actually on page 46, okay? All right, so the same thing. I'm going to put you on mute so you can focus on the video, okay? All right, so there you go.
The world has changed, and it's overdue to upgrade that mindset and that taxonomy of the world and to understand it. And that's what I'm going to show you. Because since 1960, what has happened in the world up to 2010 is that a staggering 4 billion people have been added to the world population. Just look how many. The world population has doubled since I went to school. And of course, there has been economic growth in the West. A lot of companies have happened to grow the economy, so the Western population moved over to here. And now their aspiration is not only to have a car, now they want to have a holiday on a very remote destination and they want to fly. So this is where they are today. And the most successful of the developing countries here, they have moved on, you know, and they have become emerging economies, we call them. And they are now buying cars. And what happened a month ago was that the Chinese company Geely, they acquired the Volvo company. And then finally the Swedes understood that something big had happened in the world. You know? So there they are. And the tragedy is that the 2 billion over here that is struggling for food and shoes, they are still almost as poor as they were 50 years ago. The new thing is that we have the biggest pile of billions, the 3 billions here, which are also becoming emerging economies. Because they are quite healthy, relatively well educated, and they already also have 2 to 3 children per woman, as those have. And their aspiration now is, of course, to buy a bicycle. And then later on they would like to have a motorbike also. But this is the world we have today. No longer any gap. But the distance from the poorest here, the very poorest, to the very richest over here is wider than ever. But there is a continuous world from walking, biking, driving, flying. There are people on all levels, and most people tend to be somewhere in the middle. This is the new world we have today in 2010.
All right. So, were you able to get the answers, or do you want to listen again? You can unmute your microphone to speak. Was it okay, or you want to have an opportunity to listen again?
Listen again.
Listen again.
I would like to listen again, teacher.
All right. Okay. So let me just play the video again and hold on. All right. So I'm just going to put you on mute again, and let's just watch the video, okay?
Okay, thank you.
The world has changed, and it's overdue to upgrade that mindset and that taxonomy of the world and to understand it. And that's what I'm going to show you. Because since 1960, what has happened in the world up to 2010 is that a staggering 4 billion people have been added to the world population. Just look how many. The world population has doubled since I went to school. And of course there has been economic growth in the West. A lot of companies have happened to grow the economy, so the Western population moved over to here. And now their aspiration is not only to have a car, now they want to have a holiday on a very remote destination and they want to fly. So this is where they are today. And the most successful of the developing countries here, they have moved on, you know, and they have become emerging economies, we call them. And they are now buying cars. And what happened a month ago was that the Chinese company Geely, they acquired the Volvo company. And then finally the Swedes understood that something big had happened in the world. You know? So there they are. And the tragedy is that the 2 billion over here that is struggling for food and shoes, they are still almost as poor as they were 50 years ago. The new thing is that we have the biggest pile of billions, the 3 billions here, which are also becoming emerging economies. Because they are quite healthy, relatively well educated, and they already also have 2 to 3 children per woman, as those have. And their aspiration now is, of course, to buy a bicycle. And then later on they would like to have a motorbike also. But this is the world we have today. No longer any gap. But the distance from the poorest here, the very poorest, to the very richest over here is wider than ever. But there is a continuous world from walking, biking, driving, flying. There are people on all levels, and most people tend to be somewhere in the middle. This is the new world we have today in 2010.
Okay, so let's see with what you have. Okay, let me just move this one to here. All right, so I mean we're talking about about the year 2010. So we have the developing world, which is the first part of the graph, where we only have two green boxes. So it says developing world, aspiration to buy a
Pair of shoes.
Okay.
Again.
Yes. Pair of shoes, exactly. Right. And then he put the other three boxes, and I mean it has another one. So it says economies. So we have developing world, and then we have what?
Emerging economy.
Emerging economies. So in here now we are dividing. We are actually dividing the boxes in the world. So we have developing world, emerging economies. Now, people that live under emerging economies have an aspiration to buy a what?
Bicycle.
A bicycle or a car.
They want to buy a bicycle or they want to buy a car. It depends. Okay. But these are the people that live under emerging economies. So we have developing world, we have emerging economy, and what is this?
Population.
Industrialized world.
Industrialized world, yes.
Yes.
So we have the three different types of worlds that we are actually living also right now. Developing, emerging, and industrialized. Now, people that are in the industrialized world, this one, are they poor or are they rich?
Rich.
They are rich. Now, what is their aspiration?
Like to holiday destinations.
Yes.
Exactly. So, yes, they want to fly to holiday destinations. So, if you see, I mean, the analogy that we have in here is developing. They are the poorest people. They only want a pair of shoes so that they can walk. And then we have the ones that are in the middle. The ones that are emerging economies, they maybe want to have a bicycle or a car so that they can move. But now the industrialized, the ones that are rich, very rich, they don't want cars, they don't want shoes, they want airplanes to fly instead of driving or walking. Okay?
And the next level of that, I think, is another word. Their aspiration is fly to the space, or I don't know.
Yes.
Or other planets.
Other planet, yeah, probably now they are the ones who are going to have the privilege to maybe go and live to another planet if it's possible. Okay. So before we continue with the third part of the video, what questions do you have with this so far?
No.
All right. So to continue with this section, we're actually going.
One question: what does mean box by box?
Box by box is actually this analogy. So the thing is that instead of he didn't use technology to explain the analogy between developing world and emerging economies. He used boxes.
Yeah.
So box by box, he explained the different types of worlds that we live on.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we're actually going to finish this part of the TED Talk video, watching the third part, and it says, look at the graph. This is the graph, okay? It's below showing the relationship between family size, okay, and child survival, okay? So we have children per woman. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then child survival. What is child survival? What do you understand by child survival?
Well, in that years, the women have too many child, and in that years, no, they don't have, they haven't food to that children today. But and in some cases, he died because he don't have food.
Yeah, exactly. So in this case,
it's like a índice de mortalidad, no? Something
yes.
like that.
Talking about kids, but yes, that's pretty much it. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, because he's actually going to talk about that, and we have this 1, 2, 3. It says each bubble, the bubbles are the ones that are like in colors, okay? They represent and you have to complete that part. Number 2 says the graph shows that when more children survive, women start to have fewer, and then you complete. And number 3, countries from you have 3 options: developing, emerging, or industrialized world, have big families and poor child survival. So let me just play the video and complete the answer, okay? The sentences.
Okay.
All right.
Here I have on the screen my country bubbles. Every bubble is a country, the size is population, the colors show the continent. The yellow one there is the Americas, dark blue is Africa, brown is Europe, green is Middle East, and this light blue is South Asia, that's India, and this is China. Size is population. Here I have children per woman. 2 children, 4 children, 6 children, 8 children. Big families, small families. The year is 1960, and down here child survival. The percentage of children surviving childhood up to starting school. 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, and almost 100%, as we have today in the wealthiest and healthiest countries. Look, this is the world my teacher talked about in 1960. 1 billion Western world here, high child survival, small families, and all the rest, the rainbow of the developing countries with very large families and poor child survival. What has happened? I start the world. Here we go. Can you see, as the year passed by, child survival is increasing. They get soap, hygiene, education, vaccination, penicillin, and then family planning. Family size is decreasing. They get up to 90% of child survival, then family is decreasing. Also the Arab countries in the Middle East is falling down there. Look, Bangladesh catching up with India. The whole emerging economy world joins the Western world with good child survival and small family size, but we still have the poorest billion. Can you see the poorest billion? Those boxes I had over here? They are still up here, and they still have a child survival of 70 to 80%, meaning that if you have 6 children born, there will be at least 4 who survive to the next generation, and the population will double in 1 generation. So the only way of really getting world population to stop is to continue to improve child survival to 90%. That's why investments by Gates Foundation, UNICEF and aid organizations, together with national government in the poorest countries, are so good. Because they are actually helping us to reach a sustainable population size of the world. We can stop at 9 billion if we do the right things. Child survival is the new green. It's only by child surviving that we will stop population growth. And will it happen? Well, I'm not an optimist. Neither am I a pessimist. I'm a very serious possibilist. It's a new category, where we take emotion apart and we just work analytically with the world. It can be done. We can have a much more just world with green technology and with investments to alleviate poverty and global governance. The world can become like this. And look at the position of the Old West. Remember when this blue box was all alone, leading the world, living its own life? This will not happen. The role of the Old West in the New World is to become the foundation of the modern world. Nothing more, nothing less. But it's a very important role. Do it well and get used to it. Thank you very much.
Were you able to get the answers? Or do you want to listen one more time?
Yes.
One more time?
Yes, teacher, please.
All right, yes, don't worry. Let me just play it again. So in this case, just remember, you have to focus on the 3 questions or sentences that we have in here, okay?
Okay.
All right. Let me just hold on.
Here I have on the screen my country bubbles. Every bubble is a country, the size is population, the colors show the continent, the yellow one there is the Americas, dark blue is Africa, brown is Europe, green is Middle East, and this light blue is South Asia, that's India, and this is China, size is population. Here I have children per woman, 2 children, 4 children, 6 children, 8 children, big families, small families. The year is 1960, and down here child survival. The percentage of children surviving childhood up to starting school, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, and almost 100%, as we have today in the wealthiest and healthiest countries. Look, this is the world my teacher talked about in 1960. 1 billion Western world here, high child survival, small families, and all the rest, the rainbow of the developing countries with very large families and poor child survival. What has happened? I start the world. Here we go. Can you see, as the year passed by, child survival is increasing. They get soap, hygiene, education, vaccination, penicillin, and then family planning. Family size is decreasing. They get up to 90% of child survival, then family is decreasing. Also the Arab countries in the Middle East is falling down there. Look, Bangladesh catching up with India. The whole emerging economy world joins the Western world with good child survival and small family size, but we still have the poorest billion. Can you see the poorest billion? Those boxes I had over here? They are still up here, and they still have a child survival of 70 to 80%, meaning that if you have 6 children born, there will be at least 4 who survive to the next generation, and the population will double in 1 generation. So the only way of really getting world population to stop is to continue to improve child survival to 90%. That's why investments by Gates Foundation, UNICEF and aid organizations, together with national government in the poorest countries, are so good, because they are actually helping us to reach a sustainable population size of the world. We can stop at 9 billion if we do the right things. Child survival is the new green. It's only by child surviving that we will stop population growth. And will it happen? Well, I'm not an optimist. Neither am I a pessimist. I'm a very serious possibilist. It's a new category, where we take emotion apart and we just work analytically with the world. It can be done. We can have a much more just world with green technology and with investments to alleviate poverty and global governance. The world can become like this. And look at the position of the Old West. Remember when this blue box was all alone, leading the world, living its own life? This will not happen. The role of the Old West in the New World is to become the foundation of the modern world. Nothing more, nothing less. But it's a very important role. Do it well and get used to it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so this is what I'm actually going to ask you to do. Okay, before we actually check the answers like each other, I'm going to separate you, and this is what you're going to do. All right, let me show you the PowerPoint presentation. Sharing screen, PowerPoint. Okay, can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so in this case, this is the last activity you did. You're going to check the answers with your partner or the people in your group. And then once you check, I'm going to give you, I'm going to send this picture to the WhatsApp group, and I want you to discuss these two sentences or questions or statements. Number one says, Hans Rosling says, child survival is the new green. What do you think he means by this? And number two, Rosling describes himself as a possibilist. What do you think a possibilist is? Give an example of what you imagine, okay? It is, and just give support your idea, okay? So I'm going to divide you, check the answers you have in here, and then when you finish, immediately start discussing this part, okay?
Okay.
Now, let's see, you're 10. So I'm probably going to divide you in groups of 3. So make sure everybody participates, okay? I'm going to give you 5 minutes for this. Let me just send it to the WhatsApp group. Hold on. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay, here it is. All right. Tell me. Let me know if you get the picture in the WhatsApp group. All right. So let me just separate you guys. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna send you to the breakout room. You have 5 minutes to check the answer and discuss the 2 statements. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
All right. let's just wait for the others to come back, and then we check the answer, sorry, and what you discussed. Right, so everybody's back. Almost everybody. Okay, so this is what I want to check first. First, I want to go back to the video section and check the answers that you have. So we have 1, 2, and 3. In the video, he mentions some bubbles, and we have number 1. Each bubble represents a. What did you guys?
Size population.
Countries?
Okay. Countries. Yeah.
No.
Each bubble represents a country.
Okay.
Okay. Number 2, the graph shows how. Okay, the graph shows how, when more children survive, women start to have fewer
Else?
children. Okay.
Children.
Okay. Good. And then number 3, countries from the
Developing world?
Exactly. Countries from the developing world have big families and poor child survival. Okay. What questions do you have with the TED Talk video? Do you have questions with this?
No.
Okay. What about the rest? Any other question that you have or something that you want to check? All good?
Yes.
All right, so let me just go back to the presentation. Where is it? This one. All right, so to continue from this, we're actually going to focus a little bit in a section that is called presentation skills. Okay, we are actually going to examine or like to pay attention to some parts of the video, okay, of the TED Talk video, and this actually is going to help you, okay, prepare for the presentation, not of the video.
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is going to help you prepare for the presentation that you're going to have next week and the following week. Okay. Now, we're going to go to page 47. Let me open the book. Hold on. Okay. So we have page 47. Do you have your book with you? All right. Do you have your book open?
Yes.
Okay. So on page 47, we have a section that is called vocabulary in context. Okay. We are going to watch a part of the video, and we are going to focus on these 3 questions, but I want you to focus on the word. Okay. Launching, remote, and catching up. Okay. And what I want you to do is select from the video that we're going to watch what each word means, okay, or what it represents. Okay. Questions with this before I actually play it?
No.
Okay. I'm going to send the picture to the WhatsApp group because the book doesn't have this section, okay?
Okay.
All right. tell me when you receive the picture to the WhatsApp group, okay?
Mhm.
Ready?
Ready?
Okay. Let me just go to the book so we can check this part. All right, so pay attention to the video and remember, you have to focus on the words that are in blue, okay?
But I will not use digital technology as I've done during my first 5 TED Talks. Instead, I have progressed, and I am today launching a brand new analog teaching technology that I picked up from IKEA. This box.
All right, in here we have the questions. It says, if you are launching something, you are A, building it, B, introducing it for the first time, or C, giving it to someone. What do you think it is?
Hey,
B.
B.
Yes.
well, yes, it's B. Sorry. Yeah.
Don't worry.
It's like a release. It's like a release. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so now
A
we're
lot
gonna go to
of
the next
companies
part.
have happened to grow the economy, so the Western population moved over to here. And now their aspiration is not only to have a car, now they want to have a holiday on a very remote destination and they want to fly.
Okay. And then we have, and he says, now they want to have a holiday on a very remote destination. And the question to it is, if a place is remote, it is A, extremely beautiful, B, popular with tourists, or C, very far away. What do you think it is?
Away.
All right, let's check.
Very far away.
Yeah.
Yes. So
See, remote is just distance between
yes, exactly.
two points. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So now we're going to focus on the last one.
Family size is decreasing. They get up to 90% of child survival, then family is decreasing. Also the Arab countries in the Middle East is falling down there. Look, Bangladesh catching up with India.
Okay. Mentions, look, Bangladesh catching up with India. If someone is catching up with you, they are A, getting close to the same position as you, B, falling further behind you, and C, getting ahead of you. What do you think it is?
A.
Hey, wait.
All right, so let's
Hey,
check.
getting close to same position.
All right, let me check the answer. Let's check what it says. Yes. So, yeah, catching up would be getting into the same position as you, as it mentions in here. Okay. And let's just show the answers. Yes, so launching, introducing it for the first time. Like for
Yeah.
example, Apple launches an iPhone every year or every year and a half.
iPhone 100.
Exactly. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. So remote is a place that is far away. So I don't know, maybe we can say that, let me think of a remote place.
Remote place, Sydney.
Well, Sydney is a remote place from us, all right? And catching up is just getting in the same place as you are. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Juan Carlos is in Unit 5 and I was in Unit 4 last night, but I finished Unit 4 and now I am catching up with Juan Carlos because I'm also in Unit 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting in the same position as his. Questions that you have with these words? No question?
No.
All right,
No
so
question.
all right, let me just go back to the presentation so I can tell you what you're actually going to do. Okay, again, can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. We have this section. It says using props. Okay. In the video, Hans, this is Hans, used some props. Okay. What are the props that Hans Rosling used in the video?
The box,
Okay. So yes, he used the boxes and what else?
the shoes, the car, the airplane, I don't know.
Exactly. Okay. So he used the boxes to represent what? What did the boxes represent?
The countries.
The countries, right? The developing, emerging, and then the industrialized world. And the shoes, the car, and the airplane. What did they represent?
Aspiration.
The aspirations. Exactly. Okay. So props are, for example, the things that people use in the movie sets, like to complement what they want to explain, similar to what Hans did with the explanation of the worlds and the economy.
Okay.
Now, we have these presentation skills, and the skill is actually to use props. So we have, it says, props are physical objects that you can use to illustrate your ideas in a presentation. They can also make your presentation more interesting. When you choose a prop, think about the following. So imagine you want to make your presentation, or you want to have or you have to have a presentation at work, okay? Normally, when you want to use props, you have to think about these questions. Is the prop easy for everyone in the audience to see and to recognize? Is the prop interesting enough to hold the audience attention? And also think, will the prop help your audience remember the main idea or distract from it? Okay. So what we're gonna do is we are going to watch a final video.
Okay.
It's only a part of the video from Hans Rosling's TED Talk. And I want you to pay attention and see which point from here, if his props meet one of these criteria, okay? Let me just go to the book. Software video. Okay. Are you ready? Okay.
This box contains 1 billion people. And our teacher told us that the industrialized world, 1960, had 1 billion people. And the developing world, she said, they had 2 billion people. And they lived away then. There was a big gap between the 1 billion in the industrialized world and the 2 billion in the developing world. The industrialized world, people were healthy, educated, rich, and they had small families. And their aspiration was to buy a car. And in 1960, all Swedes were saving to try to buy a Volvo like this. This was the economic level at which Sweden was.
Okay, so we're actually going to focus a little bit on this part. So from this small part of the video, do you think that the prop was easy for everybody in the audience to see and recognize?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Yes.
And then we have the second point. Do you think, based on the video, do you think the prop was interesting enough to hold the audience attention?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Now, also, and just to check if you consider that it's true or not, do you think that the prop that he used will help the audience remember the main idea, or do you think that it will distract them from the main idea?
Remember your main idea.
Remember the main idea. So he actually used something that is very simple in order to make sure that the audience connect what he was trying to explain. Okay. Now, I want you to, actually, this is something that we're gonna be working on. And this is what you are going to do, okay? We have this, yes, we're gonna have a discussion. Well, you are going to have a discussion. And these are the topics. I have communication, I have food, I have transportation, and I have money, okay? What you're gonna do is you're going to imagine you are going to give a presentation in a classroom, or maybe the presentation is going to be at work. Whatever you think, like whatever comes to your mind. You have to select one of these: communication, food, transportation, or money. Okay? This is one of these is going to be the topic you're going to talk about. And you're going to discuss with your partner or in groups of 3 these questions. What props could you use to show the trends, similar to what Hans did? Why would you use the props that you want to use in the presentation, and what criteria from the tip box would the props meet? This is you're gonna have 5 minutes, and the tip box is this one, the one that you have on your book. So select one topic per person and decide what are the props you are going to use to help your presentation be interesting, if you think they are going to work, and which ones, and what is the criteria that it meets. Okay? Questions with this?
Teacher, I don't understand the last question, the number 3.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in this case, for example, imagine that I'm going to talk about transportation, okay? Transportation in Monterrey. So instead of using a PowerPoint presentation, maybe I use a car, a Hot Wheels car, a bus, and a bicycle, for example. And then I'm going to explain these two. Like why do I imagine they work, or maybe they don't work? And then this one is you discuss with your partner. is a prop easy for everyone to understand? Like, if maybe the car is too small, so maybe people don't recognize the car, or maybe the bus
Okay.
is too big and they don't understand what I'm talking about. Maybe the car and the bus are not interesting, so they don't really like want to pay attention to the presentation. And maybe it can help them remember, or maybe it's going to just distract them from what I'm trying to explain. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
All right. Before I continue and I separate you, what questions do you have with this? Everybody understands?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to send this to the WhatsApp group, and then I'm going to separate you. I'm going to give you only 5 minutes, okay? So try to explain as much as possible. Let me just make to send you. Okay. Let me know when you get the image in the WhatsApp group. Did you get it?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to separate you. All right, so remember, 5 minutes.
Hello?
Oh, sorry, I didn't click the room. Hold on. There you go. Sorry.
To talk about transportation in Monterrey.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I would like, for example, some drops I would use in this presentation or performance. I use some toys like Hot Wheels, like everything. Maybe a bus, toy buses, toy
Mhm.
trains, toy cars. In this presentation, I explain advantage and disadvantage to use this main of transportation in Monterrey.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, I explained too about the green transportation, like a bicycle, whatever. And in this case, I don't know what else. Many things I would like to talk about it.
Yes.
What about you?
Well, transportation, a car.
Sí, yeah. Because, yeah.
But I don't.
My percentage is the transportation in Monterrey that I use in the presentation the path buses that have Monterrey to transport to people transportation in and use in presentation pro I props and in the screen the imagine the buses or subway in um, for the pollution people in Monterrey is very much people.
There is something like the abro hilo sobre tal situación en Monterrey, and the person who was creating this type of communication shows some different pictures to explain the theme. Sometimes use the famous memes, and sometimes use the real pictures who was to tell the theme.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone can share the idea of the meme or of the picture. Okay. Well, I think another props that we can use in to represent money are the cars. And for example, there are many cars of different prices. Like the most common in Mexico, I think, was the Bochito or Tsuru.
Okay.
And there are another ones that are very expensive, like BMW or Mercedes.
Audi, something.
Yes, Audi, all those. um,
Is for the homework we have or only discussion.
Maybe only discussion.
Okay.
Or
okay. Yeah. I think the transportation in Monterrey is bad because the pollution people the country the city sorry the city is the is very much people.
Okay.
The transportation is in deficit. Is I use to crops the imagine for with the bus, car, copia, subway, maybe, and whenever.
All right. So let's see if somebody else is missing. Right? No, I think everybody's here. Okay. So in this case, the only thing I want you to tell me based on what you discussed, okay, with your classmates, do you think that the props that you would use for your presentation meet these criteria, these tips that they give us, or no?
I don't understand. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. So in this case, with the discussion that you have about the topic and the props that you would use, do the props meet the criteria from this tip box or no? For example, the prop that you're going to use, is it easy for everybody to in the audience to see and recognize or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the prop interesting enough to hold the audience attention?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on what you said, right, the ones that you would use, do you think that it's going to make the audience remember the main idea you're trying to explain, or is it going to distract them from that? What do you think?
I
Or
don't
maybe a
remember the
combination of
main
both?
idea.
What?
I think remember the main idea.
The main idea. All right. Very good. Okay. So this is something that you can use obviously right now because of the coronavirus and the quarantine. It's really a little bit impossible for us to like use the props physically, but if you want for the presentation that you're going to do, I mean, you can either use a PowerPoint presentation, or if you want to use the camera and show the props for the presentation you want to give, it's something that you can actually use, okay, as a benefit.
Okay.
Now, to continue with this, where is check this? Okay, can you see this slide that it says rich and poor? The PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay, this is a picture that I have, okay, this one. I want you to write, okay, in the Zoom chat, some sentences that describe this picture, okay? Anything you see in the picture, I want you to write in the chat, okay? I'm going to give you 3 minutes for you to describe what you see in the picture.
What happened? Hello?
Yes, you have
What
to
happened?
write, you have to write in the chat
Okay.
what you see, like to describe this picture. What do you see in the picture? Okay, good. Guillermo, difference between being rich and poor. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Okay, the economic situation. Reality between rich people and poor. Okay. Okay. Okay, with the car. With food. Okay. So yes, in this case, so pretty much I think what everybody agrees on, what you're mentioning is yes, the difference between being poor and being rich, right? Have you ever seen a situation like this, like having like a poor person, and then maybe not somebody who is rich, but somebody who has, who is wealth enough? Like, have you ever seen situations like this in real life, or no?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now, this is actually something that you're going to do, but I'm going to explain that at the end because it's a part of the homework that I'm going to give you. Okay. What is the difference between social class and them? Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is, because we're going to almost finish the class with this. We have on page 49.
Page 49, okay.
It says, well, my instructions is to work individually and first answer this text. Okay, it says model presentation, and you have a box with 8 words. Do you see them?
Yes.
Okay, so for now, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes for you to answer this incomplete dialogue and use the words from the box, okay, on page 49. So for now, I'm only going to give you around 5-6 minutes to complete this.
Okay.
Okay, so in case you have a question or something, I'm here, but you can start answering this part from the book.
Okay.
Okay. When you're ready, please let me know.
Okay.
Are you guys ready? All right, ready?
No.
Or no? Okay, let's just wait 2 more minutes and then we check whatever you have.
Ready?
Okay, let me just wait 1 more minute for the rest and then we check all together. All right. All right. So let's check the answers that you have, and then we check. All right, so who wants to read the paragraph? Or who wants to start reading the paragraph?
The first is heroes.
Okay, let me check. So we have, all right, I'm going to read it and you tell me.
Okay.
It says, hello everyone, my name is Justine.
Yep.
Today I'm going to talk to you about my favorite fictional character, Dorothy Gale. She's the
Hero.
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 yes, hero in the book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. How many of you have seen the movie adaptation, The Wizard of Oz? Yeah, most of you have. Dorothy
Has inspired.
okay. It has inspired readers since the 1900s when the book was first published. Here's why she's my role model. First of all, Dorothy is a team player. She is on
A quest.
Quest.
She's on a quest to find the wizard and go home. And she meets other characters
Who
want to travel with her and find the wizard too. Dorothy is also a good leader. She's an
Behind.
No. Inspiration.
okay, let's see. She's the inspiration. She's the inspiration to the other characters in the story. And she helps them to
Handle. No, to achieve.
So she helps them to achieve their goals too. And of course, Dorothy is brave. She's only a young girl, but she's not afraid of the wizard or the Wicked Witch of the West. For example, she accepts the wizard's challenge to bring him the witch broomstick. She can
Handle.
All right, so yes, she can handle difficult situations. Sorry. In short, I think we should all consider behaving a bit more like Dorothy. Be brave team players who are willing to lead. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, so in this case, we are pretty much going to almost finish the class, but I want you to watch this video. The video that you're going to watch is this girl, okay? Oh, hold on. This woman giving a presentation about her favorite movie or her favorite movie character, which is Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, okay? What you're going to see is something similar to what you have to do for the presentation, okay? That you have to prepare. Let me play the video so you can watch it, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Hello everyone, my name is Justine. Today I'm going to talk to you about my favorite fictional character, Dorothy Gale. She's the hero in the book The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. How many of you have seen the movie adaptation, The Wizard of Oz? Yeah, most of you have. Dorothy has inspired readers since 1900, when the book was first published. Here's why she's my role model. First of all, Dorothy is a team player. She's on a quest to find the wizard and go home. And she meets other characters who want to travel with her and find the wizard too. Dorothy is also a good leader. She's an inspiration to the other characters in the story, and she helps them to achieve their goals too. And of course, Dorothy is brave. She's only a young girl, but she's not afraid of the wizard or the Wicked Witch of the West. For example, she accepts the wizard's challenge to bring him the witch's broomstick. She can handle difficult situations. In short, I think we should all consider behaving a bit more like Dorothy. Be brave team players who are willing to lead. Thank you very much.
Okay, so if you want to speak, you can unmute your microphone. So what do you think about her presentation? What do you think? What was she talking about?
Well, this is a simple presentation about a favorite cartoon.
So it is. So it is a very simple presentation. Did she use any prop or anything to explain her presentation?
No.
No, any pork.
Exactly. She didn't use any prop. She pretty much only used what she, let's say, wanted to explain. Maybe she was looking at a presentation or something in front of her eyes. I don't know. All right. Now, this is something important because let me show you what you're going to do. To almost okay, so in this case, this girl described her favorite movie character and she did a presentation based on that. This is what you're going to do, okay? And I'm going to send this to the WhatsApp group, but I want you to ask questions so you can more or less know what you have to do. So the presentation topics for the presentation you have to prepare is favorite movie. You can talk about a favorite character from a movie or a TV show. You can talk about a movie that inspires you, or you can talk about a movie character or a TV show character that inspires you. Okay, these are the 4 topics that you can select one from these 4 topics. Okay, so maybe Juan Carlos says, I want to talk about my favorite movie. So Juan Carlos is going to prepare a presentation for next class and he can use whatever he wants. Maybe a PowerPoint presentation. He can make a video maybe and present the video to us, or just use props. Okay. What you can do is in your book on page 50. On page 50, you have like some guidance, okay? Guiding questions that can help you prepare the presentation, okay? You can also have some phrases that can help you use in the presentation, okay? And pay attention to those things. The presentation has to last 3 or 4 minutes, okay? More or less, so similar to what the girl did, the presentation more or less has to be like that, okay?
Okay.
Now, I need you to tell me, what question do you have with this?
We have to use some words in specific, like a vocabulary or something like that.
Not necessarily. I mean, you can check from previous units and see if you can use a vocabulary word, but not necessarily. What I want you to work on is more about like the presentation. Okay, that's the only thing that I want to see, that you work on the presentation that you give.
Okay. The presentation we use only pictures or what is?
Yeah. So in the presentation, if you are going to use a PowerPoint presentation, you can use pictures definitely. And if you want to put some text, it's okay, but make sure that the text is not like all of the information, like just some key expressions or keywords.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, I mean, if you want to use that, that's fine. Or if you want to use the props, like I said, that's okay. But everybody, here's the thing. In these courses, a presentation is really important. So it means that everybody has to give a presentation. If you don't give a presentation, you really have no opportunity to pass to the next level because you have to give a presentation, okay? So next week, everybody has to bring the presentation, and we are going to divide the group and see who starts next Saturday and who continues the other, okay?
Okay.
Questions with this?
Only the favorite movie.
Yeah, it can be about a favorite movie. It can be about favorite character, a movie that inspires you, or a character that inspires you. You can choose from those 4 things.
Okay.
Questions?
I think no.
Okay. All right. So the only thing that I'm going to, so besides this, the only thing that I'm going to ask you to do as a homework is page 48.
Okay.
Complete this part and
Okay.
finish with the writing, okay? I'm going to send the link in a moment so you can check where the information is, but those are the only things that I want you to do for homework. Prepare the presentation and page 48, this graphic and the writing text. Okay?
Teacher,
Okay.
Yes.
the presentation is sent you and
Before, yeah.
Yes. So in this case, if you want me to give you some tips, or if you want me to give you some feedback, you can give me you can send me the presentation, or you can ask questions directly to me, so I can help you in case you want some help. Okay. So yes, if you want, I can help you.
send it Wednesday or to Saturday.
Maybe by Wednesday or Thursday, it would be better.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Okay.
Questions with these guys? No?
No.
All right.
No.
Okay, so for now, that's it. I'm going to send this information to the WhatsApp group, and I'm going to send you the links for the homework. That will be it for today. I'll see you next Saturday, okay?
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye-bye. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
You too.
Thank you,
Thank
teacher.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.